Awesome. We are back.
We're
And
back.
whoo, Sunny. What a weekend. We were
Yeah.
thinking, do we have enough to talk about on this podcast? And I was like, yeah, we certainly do. So I have such good content for our conversation today. And I want to share with you a little story. And to our listeners, thank you so much for being here and for listening to us and for participating as a good mom in this world. We really love and respect you. And we hope that we'll bring you something new today that you can work with. So here's the topic.
Okay.
What do you do when you have a child with mental health issues that you have tried and tried and tried to reduce, change, modify, fix, and nothing changes? In fact, the child is not even responsive or interested anymore because they've grown past a certain age and they just, I don't need your help, whatever. I'll tell a short story of a person that I know who actually came to me and said, I've just had this issue with my daughter, and she is clearly undiagnosed mentally ill and will not accept any help. And sidebar conversation, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is, and she felt like such a bad mom. Like, did I do anything? And I went, oh. So we'll talk about the bad mom thing here in a minute. But
Yeah.
what do you do when you have a kid that has clearly got some challenges and doesn't feel regulated and has no emotional control and causes drama no matter where you go, and it's all the things? How do you stay in yourself and stay strong and yet know that your kid is going to have a different journey?
Yeah. Yeah, that's tricky. And I can even say, my kids are a little bit younger, but sometimes in some of my kids, I'll see some quirky things like that. And I'll wonder, is this behavior, are they in a stage? Or is this something that I really need to keep an eye on? And could it develop into something else? I mean, one of my kids in particular, I'm thinking of, he will go from 0 to 60, 0 to 120 like that.
Yeah.
And fly off the handle. Like there is no filter. He doesn't do this outside the house though. This is more with the family and even some extended family if he feels comfortable enough. And it's one of those things that I'm watching, and I'm already having to have some of those tough conversations about control. And it's not okay to do that. And you're not doing that with other people, but you feel like it's okay to do that with the people that love you the most. So I'm starting to see some stuff now, and I can imagine, other parents having to deal with this into adulthood, because sometimes it doesn't just go away.
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's really tricky. I know in the case of my friend who was talking about this experience, she's been at it for a number of years and would really love to see her daughter, if nothing else, maybe try some medication for a little while to see if it would help, with she called it the total destruction of relationships around her. Nobody wants her around anymore. And so the sad part, the really heart-wrenching part, was when she said, I feel like I'm going to have to cut her off. Like I can't talk to her. I can't have her disrupting our family. And my heart just broke for her. Like, I get it. I don't know what I would do per se in that situation. It's hard. And I know that when you're dealing with something that's been at it for a long time and they are adults now, or, they're moving into the place where they have to take care of themselves, you do sometimes have to just let go, surrender, let go, let God, as we usually say, that it's challenging. And I would hope that she would have friends and other people around her to support her, not only in the decision, but then in keeping the edges strong. This is a person who doesn't know where the edges are and continually runs roughshod over them, so, so I don't know.
I think sometimes we don't realize how much we can impact people around us if we are impacted in a negative way. So, for example, if your child, and you've got that close relationship with your child, meaning you love your child, doesn't matter what your child does, we just have that as moms, and they're destroying you because it's so hard as a mom to watch your child go through something you feel helpless, you feel like you can't help them, and they're destroying themselves, right? So emotionally, you're a mess.
Yeah.
And then that triggers us, and we take that with us as moms, right? So that emotion that we're feeling is radiating off of us, and it is impacting other people. So other people you live with, other people you come in contact with on a day-to-day basis. Like we think, oh, we're just going to bottle it up and it's my problem and I'll just, I won't tell anyone about it and I'll just deal with it myself. But that is not how the universe works.
It's not. It's really not. And that's a really good point. I think the one thing my friend was saying is I just feel like I was such a bad mom. And I'm looking at her and going, I just don't see that on every other thing that you've been doing in your life, trying to support this child who clearly was going to have a challenging journey on this lifetime. And you happened to be her mother, and you were strong, and you're a strong person, and you needed her to see you be strong. Now it's up to her. This is so not your problem, so to speak. This is you being you. Stay in that space and let her go. Mel Robbins liked to say, let them. And I realized that, even with mental health issues, that's a challenge. That someone could be, if you will, better if they had some other kind of, whether it's therapy or, medication or whatever. And yet, if you try and they refuse, there's nothing you can do. Nothing. No. And so you're a good mom for trying. And then you have to let it go at some point. And it's hard. It's really challenging. So
and when you love someone, you can love someone from afar. And believe it or not, on a spiritual level, that impacts them. Yeah. That really does. And you can still send them love, good vibes, high frequency, whatever you want to call it, because there's really no distance between you two on a quantum level. Exactly. So you can send that to them without them taking your energy from you in a negative way and causing other people, like I said, including if you've got younger children, your spouse, whatever, loved ones, your parents, without bringing other people down. I think that's the thing that we have to really think more about is, how is this going to impact me? And you're not being selfish in doing that, okay?
No.
What you're really doing is protecting the other people you love. So maybe that's another way to look at it.
That is another way, yeah.
I've got I love my daughter, but she is choosing a path I don't agree with. It's really upsetting me. And therefore, I'm taking that negative energy and I'm just continuing to spread it. Yeah. That's not what you want for yourself, but you can still
negative, a double win-lose,
that's exactly what
lose-lose.
It is. But you can still love your child. Yeah. You can still pray for them, whatever it is that you want to do, and that will still have a positive impact in their life without that taking you down and other people as well.
Yeah, totally. The sidebar to that also, that is spot on. And practice forgiveness.
Yes.
Really take a minute to forgive yourself, to forgive her, to forgive the whole situation, to forgive God, whatever it is that you're feeling angry about, so that what Sunny said is absolutely right. You're not dragging around the baggage of all the negativity that infects everything else. So,
And forgiving does not mean forgetting. Okay, because people are like, I can't forget what they did. It ruined my life. But again, it comes back to you taking that baggage with you. If you can let that go, it doesn't mean that you trust them again. That's up to you, right? Yeah. But if you can just let go of all that negativity, that is what forgiveness is.
Absolutely.
Not forgetting what happened, because you need to learn from all. That's why we're here, guys. We're here to learn. So if you just forget, what's the point?
This is it. This is what you're learning. And good moms do forgive and let go. That's a good thing. I love it. No, thank you for that. And I know that my friend is going to be going through a lot, and I'm sure plenty of our listeners are in similar situations. And, hey, send us your comments. Give us any information you've got with what's happening in your life. And if there's subtleties that you can share as a good mom, we'd love to hear. Thanks for being here.